Hello! Today I'm going to be doing a book review on Ghosted by Sarah Redding. I was given the privilege to get an audiobook from the author through NetGallery so I could read it or listen to it and give my honest viewpoint and opinion on the book. This is a fictional romance. I would say that it's probably a sci-fi too, just because it is about a romance with a ghost or possible time traveler slash multi-dimensional person. It kind of dabbles in all of those, where the main character's not quite sure what is going on. So that's kind of why I'm mentioning all three of those, because through most of the book you're not 100% sure. Our main female lead's name is Jillian. She's in her late 20s, early 30s area. In the beginning of the book, Jillian is moving into her brand new apartment in New York, and her mother, father, and their lifelong family friend Fran is there to help her. Fran is important because she sets Jillian up on a ton of blind dates. Jillian has a hard time talking to guys. It wasn't always like this, but even when she was younger, she had a hard time communicating with men. But after something happened in her past, which I will not reveal because that's just part of the process of reading through the book and getting to know the characters and their trauma and drama, but something traumatic happened to her in the past, and because of that situation, she has a very, very hard time talking to men. Basically, the only guy she talks to is her dad, and even the co-workers she has who are male, she doesn't necessarily really talk to. If she talks to them, she's stated before that she has to look down, like she can't make eye contact with them, and if she's talking to them, she can like shake her head, nod her head, and talk to the ground. So she's got like this really big aversion to talking to men. Not necessarily that she's scared of men, she just has a hard time talking to men. Jillian is a interesting female character, not because she's into sports or that she's into Star Trek, which is a very big thing in this book, is her love for Star Trek. Now, I'm a Trekkie fan too, so I was really stoked, and I thought it was super cool that she was a Trekkie fan. By the way, I think Deep Space Nine is my favorite. Yeah, that's probably my favorite show out of all of them. I don't care what you say, my favorite. Jillian is moved into her brand new apartment. As soon as her parents leave and Fran leaves, her dad was like, oh, well, you know, I left the bat by the front door. You know, don't let nobody mess you around. They leave. This guy shows up. He ain't got no shirt on, and he's wearing jeans. And yeah, like he's half naked in her apartment. She freaks out, rightly so, as like a woman living alone. She grabs the bat, swings it at him, and it goes through his body. And she realizes that he's a ghost, or she's going crazy. So she bails out of the apartment. She calls her friend Serena, who is I can't even remember the name, but it's it's not a university, but it's like a scientific research facility over in Europe, which is like really famous and highly reclaimed. They do work on like trying to produce like their own black hole. I know someone's gonna be mad that I can't remember the name of the place, and I'm sorry for that, but I don't. That place specifically isn't super important to the story, but the theories that Serena comes up with, because she's Jillian's best friend, so she's trying to help Jillian, like, is it a ghost? Let's look at it scientifically, rationally. What's the possibility of this being a time traveler? Is he really an alien that's come down to Earth and kind of just taken the shape of a human so he can communicate with us better? So they're going through like all this process. You find out that this dude is a ghost. His name is Daniel. He doesn't remember how he dies. He just knows that Jillian is his friend, and Jillian's like, I have never seen you before, bro, in my entire freaking life. I do not know you. Like, your face and your body, yum, I would remember you for sure. They go see a psychic, and the psychic is like, well, obviously he wants closure. Like, you got to give him closure. So from then on out, they're working to give him closure. He thinks his closure is to help her. It's now his goal to get her to be able to talk to men and kind of find the love of her life, find a boyfriend, and for her to start writing better articles, because she is a journalist reporter, and she's supposed to be like a romance expert, and she writes columns about that, and they're not very good. She's been getting a lot of bad reviews. People have been unsubscribing. So he works with her to revamp that up and to get her career on the right path, get her love life on the right path. But as they're going about and doing these things, they end up falling in love with each other. And I will say, like, I thought it was rather fast that they fell in love, you know, like 2 or 3 weeks, maybe at most, is what it took. And they were like at it and having ghostly schnoo. But at the same time, like, I fell in love with my husband at first sight at the age of like 7. So I can't be too judgy when it comes to those kind of things. Okay, to be fair. So now that Jillian and Daniel are relatively happy, like, they know they love each other, but what is going to happen in their relationship when he moves on? Because that's the whole point of helping her find love and getting her job on track, is so Daniel can move on. So what's going to happen now that Daniel moves on? What's going to happen to Jillian? Because obviously she's still alive. She's still kicking. And is the end really the end when Daniel finds peace and moves on? I'm not going to lie, I wasn't expecting this story to take the turn that it took. I've read, you know, at least 5 or 6 ghostly romance. Sometimes they're a ghost and they're under a curse. And then once the curse is lifted, they become human again. I've read other ones where, nope, that's just legitimately a ghost and you can't touch them, but they can talk to you. And when they have inner peace, they move on. I've seen another one where the ghost took over someone else's body and became that person. That was another one that I had read. So there's you know, there's different options. There's different things that can happen. This one, though, was none of those things. So I was really surprised, because you get to the point when you're reading it and you're like, oh, well, this seems like this could be the end. But it's not the end. Like, I have another 9 chapters or 9 hours left of listening. Like, what the heck is going to happen next? And then you get this plot twist and you're like, oh, well, okay. Well, I wasn't really expecting that. And then you go a little further. You go like another 3 hours, or you keep reading, and then there's another like plot twist and you're like, oh, okay, like, what the heck? Honestly, I was not sure, because you know that he dies. And I was thinking there was a stalker, like a stalker stalking him, and that was who killed him. And he went back to Jillian because Jillian was like his friend, and that's why he went to her to help him out. So I was really unsure. However, when you get to that point, it's not heart-wrenching, but it's gut-wrenching. There's a difference between the two, if you know what I mean. So experiencing that and listening, reading it, it was well done. I was not expecting what the author did in this book, and that doesn't happen often. Like, I've read over 400 books. So having something done that I have not either read before or I wasn't expecting is fairly rare. I'm not trying to toot my own horn. That's just reality. Okay. So personally, I would recommend this story, and it's out just in time for the Halloween season. You can listen to it, you can read it, you know, whatever floats your boat. I like to listen. I like to listen to like the audiobook while I'm playing games. That works for me. It makes me happy. Like I said in the beginning of the book, it does talk and touch on multiverses a little bit. So it goes throughout the book. It mentions multiverses, and then multi-universes. Oh my gosh. And then in the end, it also talks about multi-universes again, which I kind of just felt like it was a nice way to tie things together, because if it's mentioned throughout the book, but then it's never really talked about or fulfilled, you're kind of like, well, why did they keep bringing that up if it doesn't really have anything to do with the book? But it does. So to me, I was like, oh, that's really cool. Basically, it's stating that they know each other throughout the multiverses. If you're into that sort of thing and you question, like, why? Like, or what if? So, well, what if we didn't get together? Would we still at some point in our lives be destined to be with each other? If there was other multiverses, would we end up together, or would we be with other people? We don't know. So I do like how it talks about the multiverses, how it talks about like possible time hoppers. You know, obviously he's a ghost, and why does he keep kind of fading in and out? Like, sometimes he's here for 6 hours, or he's gone for 6 hours and then he's back. He's here for like 2 weeks and then he's gone for a day. So there is a nice blend between a back and forth, a give and take. And like I said, there's unexpected stuff that happens throughout the book. Granted, I will say 70-ish, 80% is somewhat predictable, but the other 20-30% that is not predictable is a nice change. And I like how our main female lead is able to find closure for certain things in her life to help her move on, gain confidence, and kind of have or find forgiveness for herself. So again, the name's Ghosted by Sarah Redding. You should definitely give it a try if you're into ghostly romances with a twist. Appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you guys later or next time. Bye everyone.